Welcome to Sunrise Extra on a Monday, very busy Monday as we are watching the skies for snow flurries this week. Snow this morning in the Coast Range, snow in the mountain passes, and as we wait for, Rod is taping his Today Show weather updates, so we're going to get the latest forecast from him. Let us know any questions. Just type them into the comments. We're watching you guys on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, so we can see your questions for Rod. Did you go to the grocery store this weekend?
Well, I did, but before I tell you that story, I was so convinced that at 500 feet or a little above that, that I was going to see snow, that I immediately opened the front door, and it must have been the little light sidewalk. I'm like, okay, there's a dusting. I closed
really?
I did. I completely made it up because there was absolutely no snow in my neighborhood, just rain.
That's what a lack of sleep will do to you.
That is wishful thinking, and
so
yes,
really,
I did go to the grocery store too.
If you're watching for snow in your neighborhood, it's really going to be like Wednesday night into Thursday that it's going to be the actual kind of chance for that. We want to show you some kind of fun comments from people who are, and I guess we can pull up our megaphone question too of like, are you excited or dreading this? Miriam says it's supposed to snow for the next 4 days, so I'm definitely one of those people who went to the grocery store and spent too much money to stock up. And this guy says he had to park the furthest he's ever parked away from the entrance because we might get snow on Wednesday. Everyone go to the grocery store on Saturday. With impending snow, it's about to be the Hunger Games at the grocery store tomorrow. Let's be real, we're all about to doomsday prep for 40 degrees and rain. Katie says, it's supposed to snow in Portland. The grocery store is packed, honey. I was shocked. That's something else. Brenda, here is your picture. From, where is this, Winco?
Yep, Cedar Hills Winco.
Whoa!
It was packed out.
Look at the
My goodness.
I mean, there were people everywhere. Usually I go to the opposite end of the line and I can sneak in, but everything was just jam-packed. The lines were all the way back into the aisles.
I went during the beginning of the Seahawk game yesterday, so I missed
Smart
a little
man.
bit of that. Yeah.
Smart man.
Now listen, this just speaks to the urgency of snow in people's minds, because typically when we air this live at the time that we're airing it right now, we may have a few hundred people watching on Facebook, and then throughout the day it gets into the thousands as far as people watching the taped delayed version. We have over 500 people watching us live right now on Facebook Live because people...
Good morning.
I want to wait maybe for Rod to come in and talk about this, Chris, but you can speak to this. Rod will quickly say, hey, listen, just because we put an advisory out, or just because the Weather Service puts an advisory out for snow at 500 feet or higher, doesn't mean that there's going to be snow at 500 feet or higher. It could be in some spots. But I'm going to tell you that most people, if they hear there is going to be snow at 500 feet or higher, think, you know what? I don't care that I live 2 feet above the river. There may be snow in my backyard. Like they just hear that and think we could get snow no matter where I live.
And there's probably a little bit of good reason for that, because we know that there's margin for error in forecasting, right?
Sure.
The other thing is that when we do have snow in Portland, any snow at all, if snow hits the valley floor and there's snow on the road, we do not deal with it well at all.
We're going to have a situation.
This little bit can have enormous impact. Yeah. So that's why we're like, hey, it is a thing. Even if it's not a thing, like right where you are, if it's snowing, and of course we got the topography. It's very, 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 very complicated.
So you were showing us on our website, we have this cool feature, and you may want to walk over and kind of show that, like if you want to know the elevation where you live.
Yeah, this is, on our website, you can go, because today is kind of an elevation-based event where we think, above 500 feet, the best chance for seeing snow in the metro area. So this is a list of some of the elevations on our website. You can also check out the National Weather Service website. They've got a bunch of different elevations for like the Cascade Passes, for the Coast Range Passes. All of the Coast Range Passes, by the way, this morning are dealing with some degree of snow. Obviously, the Cascade Passes are completely snowed in like they were over the weekend. Another cool thing that you can do, and guys, I didn't bring my phone out with me, I should have, but there are various apps that you can download that actually, tell you your elevation down to give or take 10 feet. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So like, for instance, I know that the elevation inside this studio, give or take 10 feet, is about 135 feet. right out here. You know,
What app was that? You had that on your phone.
that was the altitude app. There's another one that's I think there's Get Altitude. There's another one called Get Elevation. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them out there, but it's pretty cool because it uses the GPS technology to get you right down to where you are. So that's a nice thing to have. So you could fire that up from your house and say, I live at exactly 878 feet or 999 feet or something like that.
So you are both a meteorologist and a traffic reporter. Lots of people weighing in on our Facebook page. We'll start with Matt McCallie. He says, I have to head to Malala and then Camas on Friday evening, starting from Portland. Should I be expecting nasty roads by Friday? I mean, that's a ways out.
I mean, we can't even tell you what it's going to do this afternoon. I hate saying that. I know I'm about to put my foot in my mouth for saying that, but I can't tell you right now. I mean, the weather this week is just interesting, and it could change we're so close, and yet some people are going to see rain and some people are going to see snow, and there might be some people at 500 feet today that only see rain, and there might be some people at 500 feet, 10 miles away that actually get an inch of snow today. It could happen. It's all possible today.
Are you and Rod, and we don't often talk about this, when we had those short weather segments, there isn't time for this.
Here he comes.
But we have some time. So now we're getting Rodney in the room, and we'll have meteorologists at both ends of the desk.
Let's wake Matt up too.
Well,
he's probably already awake checking the models.
Rod all morning on the morning show, and Rod's talked about not only today, the middle of the week, and then even into the weekend. Are you both in agreement as to how this is going to develop, this storm this week, or is there disagreements among you two?
We haven't had much chance to talk.
Yeah, that was the very first thing I was going to say. We haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to discuss the morning run of the models.
But stop me when you think I'm wrong, and that's fine.
Stop.
Meteorology, okay. So starting tonight,
yes,
and at least through the day Wednesday, the air is cold enough that we would expect the majority, if not all, of the precipitation falls to be in the form of snow, starting tonight and tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, ground temperatures are going to get above freezing, so maybe something melts into a raindrop, but primarily, the temperature fields we look at as forecasters, it's mostly just snow. Now, the catch is, tonight and tomorrow, do we get enough precipitation to do anything? I mean, if it's just scattered light snow showers, maybe you get a grassy dusting or an inch at your place, maybe you get nothing. And Portland's temperatures tonight, we're still in a westerly flow tonight, which makes it difficult for Portland to get to 32 or colder. So we may not even get down to freezing tonight in the city center.
Are there any maps you want to show people right now as they're kind of tuning in? We have hundreds of people watching on Facebook.
We can put up the 7-day. I don't really like showing a lot of maps because I don't think a lot of the forecast modeling we would show you is going to end up being correct in the first place.
Interesting.
Okay.
Modeling does not handle east winds coming out of the gorge very well. Now, all the same forecast data, as you look at the 7-day, is in agreement. The Portland does not get an east wind flow until first thing, like 3, 4 in the morning, Wednesday. Those winds get stronger during the day. Precipitation doesn't really pick up and get heavier until late in the day Wednesday. And, often in these situations in the past, the east winds have overruled everything. And they produce temperatures that lock at freezing. And you go on to get, in this case, there's enough moisture, there could be a 6-inch snowstorm Wednesday overnight into Thursday. But this big low offshore also presents the challenge of, do you get a south wind? Do you get warming in some spots? That would be rain, Chris?
Yeah, and I think the other thing that this also presents that we haven't talked a whole lot about yet, but I think we briefly talked about this off camera this morning, was that now we're, I think that the ice threat is actually like a legitimate scenario for
that's worse
parts of the area. It looks like there's a legitimate cold east wind blowing for 12 to 18 to 24 hours, setting us up. Meanwhile, the temperatures upstairs are melting that snow because that low is popping up offshore. So the winds at about 5,000 to 8,000 feet start blowing and warming that air. That warm sector doesn't get all the way out to East County or into the gorge, so they stay all snow, and that's an easy forecast out there. It's just how much. Then we get to the East Metro, and it's like snow / do we get a little sleet versus is that warm layer deep enough to melt all the snowflakes, but are we still at the lowest 2,000 feet still getting the east wind and sub-freezing, and then we get a big ice storm.
And then we've also seen it where the east winds actually produce, you don't get the warming even aloft. You're looking on paper as a forecaster, all these indices, you're like, boy, this ought to be a rain aloft, there ought to be sleet or freezing rain, but yet the column of cold air, even up in elevation, holds, and you just get straight snow.
It's
So it becomes very difficult to pinpoint.
Complicated, but when we left you guys on Friday, you were talking about that 48 to 60 hour window as we get closer to whatever may happen, that you would have a clear indication, and then it's like, ooh, it seems like
Can I
that's
chime in on that?
sliding a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I think last week, the one thing we said we were certain of is that we were going to have a below freezing stretch of weather here in Portland, and we were sure of that. And I still feel confident about that. What we still were not sure of last week is whether or not we were going to have any moisture. Now we say, you know what, we're pretty sure that
Gotta
at
be
some
moisture
point in
Wednesday
there,
and
there's going to be
Thursday,
moisture
right?
in there Wednesday and Thursday. So that's another thing that we are sure about. Now, there are other questions as that gets closer, is like what does the temperature look like all the way up through the atmosphere? And that's going to be a tough one.
We're getting so many comments.
Okay.
But
this
yeah,
morning.
let's talk to you folks are talking to us. So
Hawks Garage watching us on YouTube. It's he lives in government camp. It's snowing up there right now.
Mary's doing her snow dance.
Nailed it. Government camp forecast. Nailed it.
Love that.
What did we say?
Well, I have a
at
viewer
least
from
3
Skeptic.
feet.
3 feet. 40
said-
inches now going back to
We said
Friday.
that we would be shocked if we came in on Monday morning and that the ski resorts had not picked up 3 feet of fresh powder this weekend, and they got it.
And they've gotten 40 inches going.
And they're
back
getting
Friday.
more today, like another 6 to 12 today, and so it's just awesome up there.
What
I
else
will
we got?
say this, with all the people we have watching right now and all the comments, not a lot of questions, just a lot of comments. One comment we got from, now I just slipped. I move my head up and I lose the
Snow
comment.
quality is-
She's in Scappoose. Beth
Scappoose?
Moffitt, there she is. And I know Beth watches the Sunrise Extra program regularly.
Good morning.
She says that in Scappoose, they have had a heavy dusting. Not just a dusting, a heavy dusting.
Hey,
But is she up in the hills?
almost-
bust out your app. Let us know where
Let
you
me
are.
finish Beth's comment. Beth says everything is still covered in snow in Scappoose. She sits at 850 feet.
Well, that's
Okay, there you go.
8:50.
in the advised area above 500 feet today.
So Troy Frink says, I say get the salt ready. Oh, that's right. Oregon doesn't use it. No, we have
are
started.
now.
Get ready for a lot of insurance claims due to accidents from ice.
Yeah.
I turned to Clark County's pseudo-mayor, Rodney Hill, because Casey, watching this morning, hello Casey,
Hi.
says never mind the apps about the elevation. She just wants us to tell her the elevation for her. Can you tell her what the elevation is in Salmon Creek? She thinks it's about 200 feet.
No, she's right. Salmon
about
Creek
right.
is give or take right about 200 feet.
Okay. The other thing I want to bring up, and a lot of people are watching, I think they just want to hear about the weather discussion, because when I go to my weather app on the phone, I know that you don't advise doing this, but I'm going to tell you this is what a lot of people do.
Yep. Yeah.
So I do it, boom,
yeah, what's
I
it
go to
say?
the weather app, and I've been looking at this all weekend.
Yeah.
My kids look at this all the time.
Yeah.
And there is nothing on here that indicates snow in Portland this week, because look how high the temperatures
What is
are.
the temperature on Wednesday?
They're saying the temperature on Wednesday, 39 for the high, 36 for the low.
What's Thursday?
Thursday, 43 for the high, 35 for the low. They have a low temperature of 29 tomorrow, but that's it as far as
Grab
below
a
freezing.
screenshot of that right now.
Okay.
Grab it.
And we'll go back to it later?
And we'll go back to it on
Well,
Thursday.
but keep in mind, these apps and the KGW app you should know as well is a bit confusing, because it gives you on the one hand the 7-day forecast that Chris puts together, I put together, or Matt, or Joe Ranieri, or Keeley, but then it also gives you a 10-day product that's strictly, but I'm going to use the word generic computer modeling, which is likely what you just gave us. And those computer model products that are on your apps, I mean, they have to go by something. They're a mathematic equation. So they're locking on to these indices that Chris and I made mention when we're talking about if east winds develop, those east winds kind of overrule all these other indices that would make it be 40-some degrees. So that's why this is definitely going to be a week that if you watch an app, probably if you even watch K2 or Coin or 12 or 8, you're probably going to get a variety of forecasts.
Well, that's why I don't look at that anymore. When I was out and about over the weekend, people kept asking me, what do you think? What do you think? And my phone says, and I'm like, I don't even look at the phone forecast. I only look at yours and Matt's and whoever's here, and I'll just go to our app and I'll say, okay, this is the deal. And that's what I'm going with, because I don't know, the algorithm or the whatever mathematical equation.
And if you go to our app, KGW's app, you know what our graphic looks like that we show you on TV. That graphic is also on our app, and that is our forecast. So look for the graphic that you see, the blue graphic, the 7-day that we show you on TV. That means you're looking at our staff's work and not just a generic output.
Let me ask you, trusted journalist Brenda Braxton, do you ever venture into another station's weather app?
All the time.
Okay.
I have everybody's, especially last night.
'Cause you're a newsie.
I am a newsie. I look at national stuff, I look at local stuff, but I'm like, what is everybody else saying? Because I was really kind of looking forward, like I said, to 500-foot
Yeah.
snow level, a little bit of
Were
dusting
you
at
going
my
to call
house.
out if you couldn't get in this morning because of the 1 inch of snow?
No, you told me a couple of years ago to buy those Blizzak
Yeah.
snow tires.
Yeah, they're
Changed
great.
my life.
Changed
getting
your
around.
life.
Stubless snow tires, I'm
Changed my
telling you, they're
life.
awesome.
But if we can go way back to the beginning of this conversation, before Rod came in and you started to talk about it, Chris, someone had asked about their commute on Friday, and I can't remember the exact question, but
They
I
had to
took
drive
away
to Camas on
Right.
Friday. Is
What
it
I
gonna
took
be
away
warm
though
enough?
from earlier this morning was that by Friday we are definitely warming up. Is that even in question still?
I think it's in question.
I think it's
Okay.
in question too.
Oh, interesting. Okay, somebody online, Hua Beast on Instagram. I'm sorry, Axia says on Instagram, "What's the best advice to be safe if I'm working and I have to travel?" You had that story, right? Of was it PBOT or ODOT's kind of tips that you went through?
Oh yeah. So well, where are you traveling? I guess that's the question. Like if you're traveling, locally, and you're just
But it was like have an emergency kit in your car,
Yeah.
have some snacks, have a blanket if you need to put chains on. You
That's
wanna, like,
that's
kneel
one that
down on the
If you've got to
roadway.
get out and put tire chains on in the snow, I mean that's just first of all
That's
that's
not
just
fun.
a very miserable experience laying down in your jacket
Yeah.
and have an extra set of clothes,
have
warm
a cell
clothes.
phone
Yeah.
charger.
Keep your phone charged.
Yeah.
I
When
think
you
this,
need to look up on YouTube how to put the chains on.
frankly, I think this goes for even just like this scenario of yes, phone charger, but I'd say fully charge your phone and then turn it off.
Yeah, you said that earlier. Last week you
Just
said
turn
that.
it. Well, yeah, just turn it off. That
Save it.
way you have it when you need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about checking
Yeah, that's
scores
good
though?
advice.
How do I check my scores?
Do you need to check scores while you're driving in the snow? Drew?
No.
So Kendall
Good point.
Kendall Hayes on our Facebook page says, how does this pattern compare to the snowstorm that moved in years ago that left people stuck on Highway 26 leaving downtown?
There were
2017.
several.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about 2016 and 2017. We had 3 events in December leading up to the massive storm in January, right? This is not
That.
very similar to most of those events.
Okay, good.
I don't think it is. I
Yeah.
didn't go back and look at those maps.
First of all, a couple of those events in December of 2016, there was no question of precipitation type. We knew we were cold from the ground all the way up to where the precipitation was coming from, and that the storm was coming in south of us. So we were never going to get warm. It was never a question of precipitation type. We knew it
Yeah.
was cold and we knew it was going to snow. The only question was how much.
Yeah.
That was December
said-
17 and January 18. Is that right? Or am I-
December 16,
16 and
January
17.
17.
I'll tell you that December 16, there was one snowfall. I've never seen it like that in my 20 years here, where we went into a restaurant and there was no snow on the ground, and an hour later we came out and there were like inches on the ground.
That could have been January 17 when we got almost a foot at the airport in
Yeah,
about
that was
4 hours.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and
It
I was
was,
like, "What?
yeah.
No school tomorrow."
Well, that was
a
the
definite-
storm that we forecasted 4 inches of snow, and by golly,
And it
we got 4
verified.
inches of snow.
Okay, question for both of you. Coming
Plus.
from YouTube, Chris Courtnier says, "For me, the freezing rain is the worst. What conditions cause this, and can we expect any freezing rain?"
Well, I don't think. Disagree with me, Chris. If you like, I don't think freezing rain is a good bet this time, because I think even if it warms aloft, we're going to have enough of a depth of cold air down low that the raindrops would freeze on their way down and turn to sleet. I think that would be more likely, at least in the Portland area. Freezing rain, you have cold air, but it's just shallow down at the surface. So the raindrop is actually able to stay liquid until it makes contact with the tree or the sidewalk or your car or what have you. But do you agree with that, Chris? Do you think sleet is a more likely bet this time than freezing rain?
I think that's maybe just a little fine-tuning too much, because
Okay.
we're talking about a wide area in the metro, and I think
Well,
that
it's true.
as we go east to west, across
Yeah.
and south to north, there's going to be some gradient in precipitation types.
Yeah.
So depending on where you are, there could be a bit of an icing threat. Yeah, probably less likely, but it's still in the
Realm of possibility.
it's in the playbook.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had a
Freezing
couple.
rain is in the playbook.
Excuse me. We have a couple of people asking about PDX.
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody said, what about midnight tonight?
tonight.
And then
Well,
somebody else is
yeah.
just asking about it, Melissa. And
I don't think precipitation overnight tonight is going to be heavy enough to really produce any big issues. It's going to be showery precipitation. I
Occasional
think it will
flurries.
be snow showers.
Yeah.
But, when it's scattered precipitation, it's tough to rack up much on the ground, because now you're relying on one specific location to get hit again and again and again. Now, it can happen, but more than not, those are events where you go, gosh, it didn't have much of anything.
Are there any traffic cameras that you have access to right now that you could kind of run us through? Or
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. I gotta kind of let me bounce back over here and grab the iPad, and I'll be back in.
While you're doing that,
60
Chris, maybe
seconds.
you can answer while
Chris,
walking.
maybe this
Yeah.
iPad that's dead that I have.
No, I'm gonna grab the
Okay.
one that's in the studio, but keep
Good.
talking because I can hear you.
Okay.
Because Cameron Root watching this morning. What's up, Cameron?
Good morning.
He says, is it safe to drive to Seattle?
Ooh,
I
they're
saw
getting
they were
hammered
getting
up there.
some snow this morning. in
Well, the air's
Seattle.
colder. It's not always colder to the north. That sounds like really, but it's not always colder up there. But it is this morning.
Right. And they got a situation already there, did they not? In the overnight hours?
Yes. Honestly, I have not.
Yes.
I have not looked. I've
Yes,
just seen
they
it
have
with snow
had
showers on radar.
They have had inches of snow in and around the Seattle
question
area.
is, safe to, I mean, are they talking Wednesday? When are they talking? Wednesday, Thursday?
I think he means today. I would assume today. Cameron, if you want to be more specific on your travel day and time, please do.
Seattle's going to be above freezing during the day today, and I just can't believe I-5 is an issue today.
Terrell Davis watches us all the time on the stream. Good morning, Terrell.
Convergence zone
She
snow
says,
today.
Terrell's asking,
Up in Seattle,
snow
yeah.
in Salem, is it coming? How bad? And Salem is one of the areas that may see the least amount. I don't want to speak for
there's
you.
one, there's a fun program that meteorologists at Iowa State University put together. We look at weather data
Buff
from all
Kit.
over the place.
Yeah.
It's called the Buff Kit. It's out of Iowa State. And if anything, this program tends to be overdone, but every now and then it will show a bullseye that turns out to be exactly right. So it actually showed as much snow on the ground this Wednesday night, Thursday in Salem as Portland. But I do put Salem in that category of potential south winds winning the day, which would lead to warming, which would maybe be in a period of snow changing to ice, eventually changing to rain. But again, we're just, now you're starting to guess.
You're not spitballing, you're snowballing here.
Yeah.
Somebody on, where was it? Blah, 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 blah. Hua Beast on Instagram. Good morning. Is the city of Portland going to preemptively put down de-icer or sand? Yes,
Yes,
they do.
they do.
Yeah.
You would assume so. I mean, we're
Yeah.
not the
Magnesium
city of Portland.
chloride.
Yeah,
They
so
want
if you
it
go
all
out there, you'll see those lines on the pavement. That's
Yeah.
basically the spray that they
Yeah.
put down. But the key with that is that they have to put that down before the precipitation starts falling.
Yes.
They've got to get it dries on there, it
It
cakes
doesn't
on
work
there.
if it's on snow.
Yeah, well, it does work. They just have to use about 10 times as much,
Right.
which becomes
That's
really
why they brought
costly.
in the salt, because
Yeah.
everyone was crying salt.
'Cause salt
Go
works.
ahead.
Colton. What's up, Colton? Watching this morning. Colton points out,
Oh, that's my friend.
various
You know
elevations
Colton?
in
Well, he's my
Colton.
Facebook friend.
is that right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about
is,
the town of
putting
Colton.
a little bit of pressure on Rod. He
does
says,
he say?
Rod,
Yeah.
Rod,
Fire
you're
away.
the only one putting that 6-inch word out there, no pressure. I guess you're watching all the forecasters, Colton. You know that Rod is the only one mentioning a potential for 6 inches
Well, I mean,
on the
if
valley floor.
if it were all snow Wednesday night into Thursday, there's enough moisture for it to be 6 inches of snow.
There you go.
But as Chris has
Friend of Nina
pointed
on
out,
Period.
there's still, there's some question as to what if the precipitation type mixes. And, and my forecast, you should know, is bet heavily on these east winds, which still look like they're going to develop, maybe gusts of 45 or so out in East County, on those east winds Wednesday, locking a temperature at 32 or colder. Now, if that doesn't happen, then my forecast goes out the window.
I'll be completely honest with you. I was rooting over the weekend for your Chiefs to lose. I'll be honest.
Oh.
I thought it'd be fun to come in and give Rod a hard time about that. That's the truth. But I'm also rooting for the 6 inches Wednesday into Thursday. I am rooting for that.
too.
And it's partly because I do like you. And way back in early November, you talked about the potential for a snow event in late January or February where we'd have 6 to 8 inches of snow. And I'd say, darn it, look at my friend. He's
Well,
a genius.
I would
3
love-
months out predicting
I would
something
love
like
for
that.
it to come
Wow.
true. The thing is, let's just for a second. I get it. A lot of these forecasts go wonky, and there's certainly a lot of reason to go, man, those weather people don't know what they're doing. So let me throw something out though. If the Columbia River Gorge did not exist, then there would not really be an east wind this Wednesday, Thursday. The winds would be south. We would be warming. It would be raining in the 40s. But the East Gorge is there. So those east winds come out. Do the east winds just produce a cold air field only near the gorge in East Multnomah County? Do the south winds run out the cold weather once you get to downtown Portland? Or do the south winds only produce warming when you jump on the other side of the West Hills out in Washington County? Or are the east winds strong enough to hold cold air across all of the North Valley but Salem? You don't know. You're absolutely guessing, and maybe we'll have a definitive answer Wednesday morning and wake up, or maybe I'll still be saying the same thing I'm saying right now.
We want to close out with Chris. You've got some traffic cams of some.
Well, why not? Let's go to the high places where we thought we might see some snowflakes this morning, right? So we'll take it to the Sylvan Hill, right? Can we take that up live? This is up
Director
at
Brian working on it. He says
650 feet, give or take, right at Sylvan, and I don't see any snow there.
Nope.
Just yet.
Just a lot of traffic.
You gotta look really, really closely. Remember that you can go to our website because we've got a list of some of the major elevations of the roads in town. All of the West Hills roads that go up through those West Hill passes, they all get up over 550 feet. Burnside gets to 950.
Yep.
I-5 at Capitol Highway, you've got 150,000 people use that stretch of road every day. Well, that gets up to 650 feet. So
got any snow cams on there?
the snow camera that we do have, since we got to show snow, right? Well, there you
snow
go.
forecast.
We'll take you up there.
No broadcast.
Can we take
Brian,
you up
can
to
we pull that one up
and
and
bring
then
it back up again? Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
The snow plows are busy. That is the west side of Government Camp where they got feet of snow this weekend.
I hate actually walking away from this edition of Sunrise Extra because we have continued support here. A lot of people still chiming in. Andrea says, my son is watching you all, hoping for a no school day.
Yeah.
Well, if you live at Timberline Lodge, you have a chance. Otherwise, not such a great chance. And then Kevin Kuhn is watching.
Thursday morning is a maybe for that, I would say, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. But not today.
Not today.
Gresham, Kevin Kuhn lives in Gresham, says, I'm a roofer, wants to know about the weather. I'd say, regardless of what day you're talking about, this is not a good week to be a roofer.
Gloves. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be talking about this again tomorrow. Have a great Monday.